أهلا بكم في هذه النافذة الاقتصادية من هنا كوب 28 في دبي، ونستضيف من خلالها نائب وزير برلماني في وزارة الخزانة البريطانية البارونة شارلوت فير. أهلا بك معنا على سكاي نيوز عربية. سأبدأ معك بداية من التحديات التي يواجهها العالم وكيف تنعكس على الاقتصاد البريطاني، مثل معدلات الفائدة المرتفعة وكذلك ارتفاع معدلات التضخم من جهة، والحروب التي يشهدها العالم إن كانت الحرب الروسية الأوكرانية وكذلك حرب غزة، كيف تؤثر على الاقتصاد البريطاني؟
Well, thank you very much for having me today. I mean, of course, the British economy has had a couple of big shocks since 2019. COVID pandemic first, where the government had to step in to support lives and livelihoods, and we invested £350 billion in that. And again, with the energy shock caused by the illegal invasion of Ukraine by Russia, that again we had to support people temporarily and another £100 billion. So our economy is more resilient than we thought it would be, but we must get down. Inflation must fall. We must start to pay off our debt. And of course, we are looking for economic growth. So what the government has done, and the Chancellor from the UK Treasury, we set out a very bold and ambitious autumn statement. There will be tax cuts for working people coming through in January, but also big tax cuts for businesses to get businesses investing in the plant and machinery we need to improve productivity.
كيف أثرت كل هذه التحديات على استقرار النمو في المملكة المتحدة تحديداً؟
Well, it was quite interesting because when you look perhaps a year ago, our independent office for budget responsibility expected the UK economy to be in recession, and it's not. It's actually forecast to grow every year for the next 5 years. Now, of course, key to all of that is ensuring we have the right tax structure, but also to make sure that we get inflation down. And I'm delighted that our inflation peaked at 11.1%. It's now 4.6%. And it will forecast to fall to our target of 2% in the middle of 2025.
هل تعتقدين، بما أنك تحدثت عن معدلات الفائدة، هل حان الوقت لتخفيف معدلات الفائدة بالتزامن مع معدلات التضخم الحالية؟
We have an independent Bank of England, and they are responsible for the interest rates. So, of course, they are not set by national government. But what we are very clear with the Bank of England is, and they are clear too, is our target rate of inflation is at 2%. They must make the right decisions for the British economy so that we get to 2%. Because at the end of the day, having high inflation is like a tax on people, and it's very bad for business, it's bad for people's household budgets, and that's why we're very focused on getting inflation down.
بناء على كل المعطيات التي ذكرتيها الآن، ما هي الفرص التي توفرها بريطانيا حاليا للمستثمرين العالميين؟
Yes, well, we are a great home for foreign direct investment, and we warmly welcome it. And the Prime Minister held the Global Investment Summit very recently at Hampton Court. It was attended by some of the biggest investors in the world, and I think it generated £29.5 billion of investment. And I would say to investors, there are opportunities in all sorts of sectors across the UK. There are skilled workforce. There is a good tax regime, which we have made even better by having permanent full expensing for plant and machinery, so that people will invest in the sorts of assets that we need for productivity. So we are very much open for business and open for investment.
دعيني أنتقل معك قليلا إلى المناخ، بما أننا متواجدون الآن في كوب 28. من وجهة نظرك، كيف تواجه الحكومة البريطانية تحديات أزمة المناخ من الناحية الاقتصادية؟
Yes, I mean, obviously the UK government has been very focused on climate change for a very long time. We were the first major economy to put the net zero target of 2050 into UK law. And actually what we've seen is since 1990, our emissions have halved. I think that's probably the most out of any developed economy in the world. So our emissions have halved, but at the same time we've achieved economic growth. We've grown our economy by 2/3. So I think what that shows is that there is a way through for economic growth, grabbing the opportunities that clean technology brings, whilst also having a laser-like focus on emissions reduction. And obviously we are continuing to reduce our emissions down to where we need to be in 2050.
بما أننا نتحدث عن أزمة تغير المناخ، كم حجم الموازنة التي تخصصها المملكة المتحدة لمكافحة تغير المناخ والاستثمارات المتوجهة كذلك إلى الطاقة المتجددة؟
Gosh, I mean, in terms of the domestic renewable energy amount invested, it's enormous. It's so enormous that I don't have the figure with me today. But I have been to see the places where they put together the great big turbines to take them out to the North Sea is particularly good for us, and we have quite a lot of wind. So it has been a great way for us to decarbonise our grid. Our grid we're making great strides in decarbonising our energy grid. I'm very much willing to share that sort of expertise and how we've done that with other people. But of course, you know, in terms of our international interventions, we made a commitment to invest £11.6 billion up to 2026 in international climate finance, and we are on track to meet that.
سأتحدث معك عن صندوق المناخ الأخضر والمساهمة البريطانية وكيفية دعم مبادراته. هل لك أن تحدثينا أكثر عن هذا الصندوق؟
The Green Climate Fund is, of course, one of the key climate funds that there is. I believe now we are the joint biggest contributor to that fund. We recently announced an additional $2 billion in the second replenishment round, and I'm absolutely delighted that the US have joined us by also making a significant donation, and they are donating $3 billion. Excuse me. So, of course, you know, from now it is all about making sure we get that money out to the projects that we really need to see, you know, for mitigation but also for adaptation.
بما أنك متواجدة في كوب 28 وشاهدت للعديد من المبادرات التي تم إطلاقها خلال الأيام القليلة الماضية، ما هو المختلف في كوب 28 عن النسخ الأخرى مثل كوب 27 وغيره؟
I'm going to be frank. One of the things that I have noticed very much about COP28, and it's been an amazing experience, is how much we're still talking about COP26 and COP27. So I very much feel like COP28 is like moving forward from all of the things that the UK then announced back in COP26. All sorts of different things came out of that one, which we've then taken forward in COP27 and now to COP28. Obviously, there's been a lot of stuff from COP26, but also some new things coming through from the UAE presidency, which we warmly welcome, particularly around finance and how we're going to get a range of different financing solutions into the climate finance world.
سؤالنا الأخير لليوم، إذا أردت أن تضعي عنوانا واحدا لكوب 28 ما هو هذا العنوان؟
COP28, innovation in technology, innovation in finance.
كل الشكر لنائب الوزير البرلماني في وزارة الخزانة البريطانية البارونة شارلوت. Thank you for being with us. هذا ما لدينا من النافذة الاقتصادية في كوب 28 هنا في دبي. نعود إليكم في استديوهاتنا بأبو ظبي.